Start this thing off right. We have a very special guest in the building. I feel privileged because usually she's the one telling me what to do behind the camera. We're going to get into that in a second, but before I do, big shout out to Media Campus West. That's where it's all happening at Reec Talkcast Live. We have the woman behind the lens in the building, Miss Jacinda. What's up, Miss Lady?
Hey.
How are you doing today?
I am well, thank you. How about yourself?
I'm great. I'm glad I got you in here. We are here. We're supposed to be here specifically talking about a show, and the show is called Asking for a Friend.
Yes, sir.
And I was on the show.
Yes, you were.
But y'all haven't seen it yet. Y'all haven't seen that yet. But before we do that, because we're in basically a booming place of content creation, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that because there's so many people that watch and listen to this, and they have aspirations. They want to be on camera or they want to make their own shows. Like, tell us your journey, because your credits are crazy. Like, you got more credits than somebody with $1 million, dollar credit line. You know what I'm saying? You got all these IMDb credits, all these production credits. Like, how did you get started in the game?
So basically how I got started in TV, it was funny. One of the girls that went to my church went to NYU school in New York.
Okay.
And she asked some of the kids in the church to be a part of her thesis. At the time, I think I was like maybe 14, 15. And she had us like working behind the cameras, doing everything. So that was my first like introduction to it. And I was like, I think I want to do this.
Oh, you caught the bug early.
Early.
Off of a volunteer situation.
Exactly.
See, y'all need to volunteer. That's how you get to your dream, through volunteering.
Exactly. So then for my 16th birthday, I told my parents I wanted a video camera.
Okay.
And that was it.
So what were you taping at 16?
So the very first thing, this is hilarious. The very, very first thing that I filmed with my video camera was the People's Court.
Oh, really?
So my parents had a bar downstairs, and some of the kids in the neighborhood had helped me out. So he put on his graduation robe. So he was the judge.
He was the judge. All right.
And then his brother was the plaintiff, and then we had teddy bears as the jury, right? Fast forward, I worked for the People's Court for 7 years.
That is a full circle. Let me hit this hype bell. That's one of those hype bellable moments right there. That's crazy. Did you think back like, wow, y'all were stuffed animals a few years ago?
Exactly. And not even something that I necessarily said, this is what I want to do, but it's just funny how you put things out into the atmosphere, and
then
with the right energy, it'll come back for you.
That's it, man. That's an awesome how to get there story.
Exactly.
I like that. Start off in the basement, end up on People's Court. So you go through this journey. You work with Queen Latifah. You did stuff directly with her. You've done stuff with all of these different networks, and then I bumped into you on 4 different occasions, 4 different sets here in Atlanta, because so much stuff being shot.
So much stuff.
Right. I think the first time I bumped into you was at a Love and Hip Hop scene. I was just there.
Actually, before that, Ricky Smiley.
Ricky Smiley for real. Yep, Ricky Smiley for real.
Exactly,
yep,
and then Love and Hip Hop.
Yep,
yeah.
then Love and Hip Hop, and now asking for a friend.
Now asking for a friend.
Man, I can sit here and talk to you about all this stuff all day. So we're gonna jump straight to asking for a friend, and we're gonna go back and do some more Jacinda history. Okay.
Okay. Gotcha.
All right. So asking for a friend on TV1.
On TV1.
Lisa Ray McCoy is the host.
Yes, she is.
She's
amazing.
Yes. Yes. I initially thought I was trying to be to be the host, and then I saw her name. I was like, I'm not gonna be the host.
Exactly. She beat you out. I'm sorry.
It's a wrap.
I'm sorry.
It's a wrap. She has me on a few different things, including the looks category. Right, so I was like, you know what? Let me just do something else.
Yeah, she's beautiful inside and out.
Yeah, she's really, definitely an amazing person. I sat down with her, interviewed her a couple of times, and every time it's been like amazing.
Exactly. And she's hilarious.
She is. She's super funny. It's crazy. Their whole family is talented. It's crazy. So when you get the call about this show, how does that work on you guys' end?
So how I got the call about this show, it was kind of twofold, and I guess it was just meant to be. Another producer friend of mine had recommended me for the show.
Okay.
But at the same time, they had reached out to my agent to interview me for the show.
Okay.
So it was just like they were hearing about me from somebody else, and then the agent. So that's kind of how that kind of came to fruition.
Okay.
The show was already sold on paper, but it was still had to be kind of formatted.
Okay.
So when they brought me onto the project, I basically formatted the show, kind of figured out how we were going to shoot it, because as you guys will see, it's 2 double dates in one day with 2 friends. So once we figured out the whole process of it, it was just a matter of getting it started, finding the singles, the pairs, the friends.
Yeah.
You know, on the show we even have a couple that were exes.
Yeah, I saw that.
That went on a double date together, and she was worried about him hooking her up with somebody that wouldn't be so great.
Right.
But yeah, we had exes. We had a father-daughter. I mean, father-daughter.
Okay.
A lot of best friends, work friends. So it was a lot of fun to make.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun to make because you kind of see. Like the show was really a look into dating as far as like, you know, just seeing two people go on two separate dates and those two separate dates, you can see the energy.
Yeah.
Like if they like somebody, how they interacted versus if they were a little standoffish. So it was a lot of fun making.
That's pretty cool, man. I love that that you get that people interaction.
Oh, yeah.
And then you get to see the way you just explained that is so amazing because most people wouldn't think like a producer would have an agent or you would have to use your agent to make sure that the deal gets closed. But in reality, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps, you know, having an agent. They kind of float your name around to different places that you may not have access to because, you know, everything in entertainment is about networking and just being in the right room. So if you haven't been in those rooms, the agent helps, even though they get some of your money.
Right.
But, you know, it definitely
it's worth it. It's like a give and take. You can't just keep it all. You got to spread the love some. And you get more love.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
I like that. I like that. Man, that's amazing. I'm glad you said be in the right rooms and you always working. So I'm glad I bumped into you a couple times. I mean, I was in some of the rooms a little bit.
Exactly. Right. You were in the right rooms.
Right. So that's cool, man. So as you go through this journey on asking for a friend, what was one of the wildest things that you had to deal with? That I don't even know if we could say. Well, something that's already aired, or something that may be coming up. People maybe they may be wanting to.
I think it was some of the wildest things were what people led with. You know what I'm saying? When
Talk to me about it.
It's as far as like. I guess you kind of realize sometimes how male and females don't always know how to interact when it comes to dating. They don't know to ask the right questions.
Right.
And then some of the questions that they ask, you're like, you've just sent off a red flag before I even really know anything
with the
about
question.
you.
Not even with a statement or answer, with the question.
With the questions.
Wow.
Or just the interaction. It's just like the awkwardness or the weirdness or, you know, and then plus I think, and I'll give people some grace because we just came out of quarantine. So
Right. They got to get used to being around people again and talking to people again, right?
I think we're a little, you know, still a little socially retarded. So we're just trying to, you know.
We used to just talking to people on the phone and looking at people and not having to converse. Right. I get it.
Right. So yeah, that was definitely interesting to see just the whole dating scene, you know what I'm saying? The whole dating scene. Everybody talks about the dating scene in Atlanta is like
it's
scary.
Wild. So when you said give the explanation of what the show is one more time, and I'm gonna tell you how that is.
Okay.
So you said it's two people.
So it's basically two friends. It could be family members, work friends, whatever. Two friends that are single that pick a blind date for each other, 2 blind dates, and then they go on those double dates together. Because it's like, you know, the theory behind it is like sometimes we don't pick what's right for us, but our friends see what's right for us. Or we're blinded like, oh, he's cute, but he's like not the guy you should be dating. But your friend is like, well, I think if you give a nice guy a try, maybe it will work out. So your friend has full control to pick the person for you.
So they over there like resume builder.
Exactly. And then you guys go on the double date together, and both dates are on the same day. And then at the end of the night, you pick which date you like the most to go on another date.
That's the only part that doesn't like really characterize Atlanta dating, where you go on 2 dates in one day with 2 different people, and you might have got hooked up by your ex. That's pretty much Atlanta in a nutshell. So that's why the dating is kind of wild out here.
Exactly. True to form.
Right. So but it is pretty cool because you're saying the watcher, we get to see how people interact in some of these red flags, and this almost gives you a tutorial how to date.
Exactly. It definitely does. Okay. It definitely does. Like, so for the first episode that aired, it was 2 work friends, and it was funny because I went to the viewing party. Okay. So it was like all of their dates were there.
Everybody's there.
I
had to work radio, so I wasn't there. I might be glad I didn't come. I don't know.
You might be glad, yes. So everybody was there. So it was like watching the reactions, you know, because after the dates, you guys have interviews with us and you talk about what you thought about the guy.
So now they're watching what the person thought that they didn't say in front of them. Ooh, what were the awkward faces looking like? Now let me get my tea and popcorn. Hold on now.
One guy, she was like, oh yeah, you know, he's kind of like a mama's boy. And I looked over at him and I was like, oh.
He's there.
I was like,
what did he say? Did he put his head down?
He just
tried to stand tall.
He stood tall. He definitely stood tall. He held his own.
Oh wow, he had to put his chest up.
Exactly.
Like, no, I'm not.
But I was like, that has got to be so embarrassing.
I know, man. I know.
And then one of the other friend, she was talking about the guy because she was like so attracted to him. And she was like, he doesn't really talk, but I can look at him. And he's sitting there and hearing this. And she ended up picking him.
Oh, wow.
You know, that was funny. But they're all like, they all seem like they're still hanging out together and stuff like that. So
there we go. A win is a win.
Exactly.
A win is a win. I like it. That's pretty cool. So when people hear their episode comes on, I get so many reposts. I'm watching it. The show's getting a lot of buzz. It seems like it's doing so well.
Yeah, so, it really is.
That's really cool.
Is. You know,
how's that for you? Like, as like one of your babies coming to life and growing up?
I mean, I think for me, it was just like the experience with TV One was amazing. You know, like I had so much support from TV One. Critical Content was a production company, amazing company. I just had a lot of support.
Yeah.
So for it to be my baby in that way, it was just like, it was just all positive energy. I think it was just supposed to happen when it happened in the way that it happened.
I love that.
So yeah, it was definitely a good experience because you know on TV you have some experiences where you're like, okay, I'll never talk about that again. But this is definitely something where I look forward to getting up every morning and going in because I'm a people person too. So it's like you're getting to meet people and talk to them and just kind of see because you learn so much from each other.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, and just to see where people are when it comes to relationships because I think we've been in a, you know, with the whole COVID and quarantine, we've been in a place where we kind of need each other a little bit more now.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of, it was interesting to see everybody interacting and coming together in that way. I mean, it's a lot of comedy.
It really is. And what I really love too, just being on set, the way you guys, the staff and the production crew and everybody interacted with each other in a way that you guys were like, you know, with the people that were on the show and the crew. I mean, it was amazing. Like the energy around the whole thing. I was like, this is going to pop because everything is like love and positive.
Exactly.
Like it was dope. It was real dope.
I was very intentional with my crew that I picked, and everybody was really, really great. Great energy. Because I'm like, at the end of the day, too, when you work in production, you spend so much time at work. So it's like you want to enjoy the people that you're around and be able to communicate, you know, because sometimes, you know, production can be very fast and things change at the moment, and sometimes people don't talk to each other in the best way. But it's like if I know your intentions, I know even if you snapped at me in that second, you're going to come back later and be like, you know what, my bad, I apologize. So I encourage that, you know, because for me, somebody gave me the opportunity to come up. There are things that I learned going forward that I would want for my production and things that I didn't want for my production. So I just made sure to create that environment that also helped you know, kind of nurture creativity also.
Got you, man. That's amazing. That's some bars right there for you. You got to pick the right crew.
Exactly.
Right. And you said something real that actually works in relationships too. You said that, hey, if I know our goal and intention, I may say it the wrong way, but it may be the right information. So you might just have to digest it, and then later we could talk about it.
Exactly.
Right. We can clean it up later.
Exactly.
I like that.
Exactly.
I like that.
And then plus, I felt like we could all learn. It didn't matter if you were a PA up into the EP. I learned stuff from my PAs. Like we all fed off of each other. Yeah. So it was just that, you know, because you're human.
Yeah.
Period. It doesn't matter what your title is. You're human. You have emotions. You know, you have good days and bad days.
Right.
So.
Right. I love that. I love that, man. We getting a little free game. We getting some relationship advice by accident over here talking about the relationship show. So every single Thursday.
Every Thursday at 8 o'clock on TV One.
TV One, asking for a friend. So it sounds like this may be happening again.
I am praying every day for it. I am definitely praying every day for it.
Right, because I've some people that hit me up like, how can I get on the show?
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know. I was like, I'm going to ask for a friend too. Right. When we interview a production person, we gonna ask. So
Right.
look, it's probably in the works. So y'all get ready for that. So it's definitely gonna be, hopefully, definitely we're gonna put it out there. It's definitely coming y'all's way again soon.
It's coming.
And hopefully, so what happens if the dates don't work out and maybe we have a person come back next season?
Definitely, because even this season we had somebody come back that it didn't work out. So
okay,
yeah,
cool. All
exactly.
right,
So,
all right. There we go. Give him another chance.
Exactly.
Ask again for a friend.
Exactly. Or you might need to ask a different friend.
A different friend.
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta ask. Sometimes your friend don't know what to do.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Not at all. Not at all. Because there's
like
certain friends
that.
you don't want to ask.
Yeah,
You're
certain
like,
friends you don't want
Right.
to ask. They setting you up for failure.
Right.
Right. So this might be an ex trying to get back at you. Like, I'm just hook you up with a Oogie Monster. Just man, that's amazing. So make sure you guys check that out every Thursday. Asking for a Friend on TV One. Shout out to everybody TV One. Definitely amazing crew. And I mean, I appreciate you. So now we can rewind a little bit and talk about it. Because like I said, you got all of these credits, all these production credits. Man, what is it like moving from project to project? Because there's so much stuff being shot here.
Right.
You if you want to do, it's a thing called like AP and BP, right? Mm-hmm. Before Perry and after Perry in Atlanta, right?
Right.
So before Perry, it wasn't a million things happening.
No.
After Perry, he's building another set right by my house. And then shows are being shot on his studio that have nothing to do with him,
right?
Except for paying the rent,
right?
So, talk to me a little bit about that. With so much stuff being shot here, a person that's trying to do what you're doing, meaning they have aspirations to be, what do they do? How do they try to like break down that door?
I mean, a lot of times it's just kind of putting yourself out there. You know, like we've had, like when I did Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Okay.
We were filming at one location, and I remember a guy was just like interested and came up to us and gave us his information.
Wow.
So sometimes it's as simple as that, because like he went on to do great things. Like he went on to work with Oprah and stuff like that. But it's like sometimes you just have to put yourself out there. I always say nothing beats a failure but a try.
There we go.
The most somebody could tell you is no.
Right.
So, you know, sometimes it's like, just like I said, you see a set happening, you might walk up to them, hopefully somebody won't snap your head off, and you can exchange information. For me, my route was a little different, and I mean, not to say that it's the blueprint, because it's different for everybody.
I don't think there's a blueprint when it comes to entertainment.
No, not at all.
I think it's the one thing that holds fast is just have good character.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So for me, I actually went to school. So in high school, they also had a television production studio. So I took classes there, went to undergrad, got my bachelor's in journalism and American studies, went and got my master's in communication arts. And when I started my master's program, was I got my first paying TV job. I worked at a local Long Island station in New York. And then from there, it just was like, when I was in undergrad, I had to do an internship, and the internship was what put me at Geraldo.
Got you.
So I worked at Geraldo.
Not Geraldo. I'm about to say, then she founded Wu-Tang. I'm just playing.
Yep. So I worked at Geraldo, and after 3 months of interning, they offered me a job, and that kind of put me into the major networks. You know, because like I said, Long Island was a smaller market. So, you know, that's when I was able to get into the CBSs and the MTVs and the stuff like that. And just, you know, again, it's just networking and going from place to place and being personable and asking the right questions and just humbling yourself a little bit to learn, you know. Yeah,
that's key.
Yeah.
I love that, because you're giving people insight. The biggest piece of equity you're gonna have is yourself, right?
Right.
And your word and your name.
Exactly.
So as you meet these people, they like, oh, Jacinda's cool, Jacinda's professional, Jacinda's this, Jacinda's that. And then you start to move through these different rooms.
Exactly.
At what point did you say, okay, I need an agent? Jacinda needs an agent.
When did I get my agent? So I've had my agent now. Well, this agent is new. This is my second agent. So I got my first agent, I think. I'm trying to think if it was before or after Love and Hip Hop.
See, these names, she's not even name dropping. She's not trying. She's like, yeah, I work with Geraldo. It's nothing. Let me hit the hype bill for that. You don't even have to be born when Geraldo was on. You know who Geraldo is. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody knows the mustache.
Right.
So you, oh wow. So you get your agent, Love and Hip Hop Times. Now you send your agent in to work these numbers out, work this math out for me.
Right. Exactly. Because that's the hardest part I found in being in production. It's like when it comes down to that negotiating place, you're like, okay, I don't want to turn them off, but I know what this,
my coins.
Right, exactly.
You know your worth.
Right. I know my worth. I know what I'm going to put into it. So it's just like you want to be compensated for it. And there are times where I know I've taken like lower rates or stuff like that just to make those connections, because that's something that you have to do too. Sometimes you got to take a little bit of a L to get higher,
right?
You know,
right.
So it's like you may feel like, oh, I'm at a place where I can be a supervising producer, but you get an opportunity to be a field producer for like a major show,
right?
So I'm like, take it, you know, get in there, make those relationships. You never know what they'll offer you going forward,
right? So
that's a lot of, you know, what it is. It's just kind of you just got to put yourself out there. I mean, there's a lot of now different websites that you can go on to. What is the I can't even think of it.
Are these to like pitch yourself or
they're like
okay.
You'll find out about job postings that you can even apply to on them. So
okay, cool.
You know, those are helpful, but it's just like I said, sometimes it's even going to the network's websites where they have internships listed.
Yeah.
And you can apply to internships there. Some of them you might have to be in school, some of them you might not have to be in school.
Got you.
So
this is free game right here. I hope y'all right. This is a master class we're getting for absolutely free right now. Jacinda's giving us all the work. I appreciate you. So, man, you making all these moves. You're in Atlanta, but I see that a lot of the producers, they move from place to place.
Yeah.
Is
They're
that
like nomads?
Yeah. So how was that for you? Do you have to like pick up and say, okay, we're shooting in Alaska for 6 months? That's the thing?
Exactly.
How do you adjust to that?
It's an adjustment.
Okay.
It's an adjustment.
Okay.
But that's the one thing that I say that I love and hate sometimes about my job, because I get to live in places I wouldn't necessarily live
like
in.
Anchorage, Idaho.
Right. Exactly.
We didn't know there
was. The weirdest place that I was. I can't say it's weird. It was just cold. Cleveland.
Okay. Cleveland.
Yeah, like the day that we started
what
production.
Was y'all at First 48? They always shooting that in Cleveland.
So it was a show for Lifetime.
Okay.
And the first month that we were there in Cleveland, it was -20 for
That's
the
crazy.
whole
Now
month.
I'd have left just right then.
Exactly. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm good on this. But you definitely get to, you know, go a bunch of different places. Like when I worked on The Real Housewives of Atlanta, I got to go to South Africa.
Oh, nice.
You know,
those are the perks.
Exactly.
Right.
So you get free trips.
There you go. Free trips.
Now, granted, you may not be able to enjoy the trips because you're working, but you get the passport stamp.
Listen, you went to South Africa and got paid to do it.
Exactly.
Can I hit the hype bell for that? That's a hype bellable moment. That's what we doing. You know what I'm saying? That's amazing. So from Cleveland to South Africa. This is the title of her book that's coming out. We're gonna put that out there. You know what I'm saying? That's really dope, man. So,
but it's hard too, because it's like, you know, it's if you have a family, you know, you're away from your family for a certain amount of time, so you miss out on things. So there are like a lot of family moments that I missed out on that I can't get back.
Right.
You know, but it's like the you know, but your family's encouraging you and they're proud of you and everything. So it's like, you know, it's the gift and the curse.
Yeah, you're living your dream, you're providing.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to miss stuff. It's just the nature of it.
Right, exactly.
The nature of it.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So what projects, if any, or do you have one, maybe you can, maybe you can't talk about it, that you want to just put out there and say, hey, this is my presentation from the world, besides Cleveland to South Africa, because we're going to make that happen.
You know, it's funny. As of recently, I've been doing a lot of love shows. I did Love is Blind.
Right.
I did Ready to Love.
Right.
I did Labor of Love and Asking for a Friend.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, doing all of these love shows, you just kind of see, like, I like doing them. I think there's an authentic drama that comes from doing love shows, whereas versus doing like a love and hip hop. You know? I don't have to duck, you know. But I mean, Love and Hip Hop, I loved it too. You know, working with the cast there, everybody was amazing. You learn so much from everybody. And then it just, you know, again, the one thing that I could say doing a lot of these reality shows is you can never judge a book by its cover.
Right.
You know, so you get to meet some amazing people that when you watch the show, you thought one thing, but then when you get to know them, you're like, oh,
that's not
exactly
that.
right.
Yeah.
So so that's the another thing that I could say, working in reality shows and TV in that space, you just learn so much about people. So much about people.
That's amazing. Right now on the radio side, we tuned in Reec Talkcast. We got Jacinda talking about her production life. Tell me how content creation with social media has kind of changed the landscape a little bit. Like, does that change it when you're looking for people and casting and stuff like that?
It definitely makes casting easier. Because like I have at one point I did casting myself. So it's like I would find things on social media, just watching somebody's content, and I'm like, they would be an interesting show. Okay. And that's how a lot of these shows now in reality are coming up.
I like that.
People seeing people's Instagram or, funny videos, or just showing different parts of their life, depending on what network it is, because the networks basically kind of put out something that they're looking for specific types of shows to fit a certain demographic. Yeah. So it's like when you know that a network is looking for that, then kind of, all right, let me see what I can find on Instagram. Right. And that's how a lot of these people are being found. Definitely on social media. So social media has opened it up so much.
That's amazing news right there. And you don't necessarily have to wait for the network to get your show going. You can keep going with your social media network, get your following, and maybe the network goes.
Right, exactly. Because, with YouTube and stuff like that, you have all of these advertisers. Yeah. So it's like now the network will see, like, oh, wait, these advertisers have an interest in them. They have this amount of followers. That's going to bring this amount of viewers to our network. So it just, it's a numbers game.
It is a numbers game. I like that. That makes so much sense. Y'all keep posting in. Keep doing that, all right?
Exactly.
I love it, man. I'm not going to hold you too much longer. I really appreciate you coming talking to us. You gave us so much free game.
Hey, why not?
Right. We just got us a new script now.
Exactly.
This is a book right here. Make sure that you guys check Asking for a Friend TV1. I'll be on there one Thursday. Y'all check it out.
Yes, he will be.
Maybe we'll have us a watch party too, and I could be looking awkwardly from the crowd as people make comments about me. I can't wait to see it.
We had fun with your date too.
Oh man, we had a whole lot of fun on that set. We had a lot of fun. I had fun. I don't know if y'all had fun. I had fun. I was probably working y'all's nerves.
No, not at all.
I wasn't. Cool. All right, we're gonna leave on that note. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure you follow her on Instagram and social media. Tell them where to get you at.
Jacinda, Jacinda 909.
There we go. What does 909 stand for?
My birthday.
Okay then. That's what I'm talking about. I thought it was the number from the People's Court from the basement and how many stuffed animals. No, I was just playing. I'm just kidding. If you don't know what to talk about, rewind that video, y'all. We'll be back at you in a few. We got more guests this week lined up. We have Miss Bonnie Bonita coming in. She has a program that helps stop evictions as we highlight black businesses still for this month. Make sure that y'all tune in tomorrow. And we're going to get back to this mix on the radio side. My boy DJ Decepticon and DJ OS are locked in on the ones and twos. This is Reec Talkcast. We appreciate you for coming again.
Thank you, love.
Let me hit this hype bell again. From the basement to Cleveland to South Africa. Jacinda on the Reec Radio Show.